Tell us sort of what your point of view is on the growth of video on mobile and the opportunities and maybe how that's shaking out perhaps in different regions.
Yeah, my view, first and foremost, you mentioned television. I think we're going through a whole redefinition of television at the moment, and even within OMD, we're changing those definitions and getting people to talk about audiovisual across devices and not talking about TV as such. Your point is right in terms of there means a content explosion now that a huge majority of content is being consumed in a very bite-sized format on the mobile device. Mobile device being either a smartphone or a tablet. We're seeing huge take-up across either Western Europe but even Eastern Europe in terms of the mobile consumption trends. I think the really interesting thing about this is not only the consumers demanding more content, but also from an agency point of view, it means a complete redefinition of an agency. At the moment, OMD is transforming from a media agency to a marketing communications agency because we are now developing a full service proposition for our advertisers. Because advertisers are increasingly coming to us because of the mobile revolution, wanting us to create short form content in a compelling brand story and then explode and distribute that brand story across devices. And that's a completely new relationship and a new conversation that we're having with some of our big advertisers, whether it's Pepsico, McDonald's, Renault, Nissan, most recently the Walt Disney company. We're actually finding that there is a massive opportunity to bring down some legacy barriers between creative media agencies, design companies, PR agencies, and we're seeing a complete blurring and merging of the landscape that we operate in. So a huge amount of change at play. It really is a mobile revolution that we're living through at the moment, but very, very exciting, challenging times.
So Nikki, how do you guys scale content for this tremendous demand of the public and of your brands? Because it's not the usual 30-second pre-roll, high-produced. I mean, it can be, but how do you scale content? How can you feed the beast, so to speak?
Well, it's really interesting because we're looking at new and faster distribution techniques, and particularly by leveraging the social space and the social phenomenon. So first and foremost, we start with garnering better insights on actually what content goes viral, what content is super shareable. And then from that, we start to generate the right content. And that can be real short form video, but it can also be other forms of content that are text-based, which are used in the social space, and display-based. I think it's really important to start with the insights of what is being consumed and why first, because we have seen instances if those insights aren't garnered properly, then chances are you're going to create content that isn't actually going to go viral and isn't going to be shareable. So starting at the insight sort of pivot point is critically important. Then you produce content that you know is actually going to be shared and it's going to work, because it's very easy to actually look at some trends in terms of what consumers are wanting to share. We just recently actually saw the selfie video trend share, which David Shing talked about. But it's sort of aspects like that, nuances like that are actually cross-border as well. So it's not just particular trends in particular countries, they're consumption trends that are actually borderless. And then we look at better distribution techniques, and that's working with a lot of good ad tech companies and making sure that we've got the right ad tech companies built into our whole DMP, DSP stack system to make sure that we're actually distributing the content across multiple markets as effectively and as quickly as possible, and then creating a feedback loop so we know what is working, why, where, and how well. And it's that feedback loop of content distribution which really is the sweet spot of success. We've still got a lot more work to do. So, we've started, we're probably only about 8% there. 8% there in terms of the product and service offering within OMD that truly takes story creation and distributes it at scale very effectively across the region of Europe, Middle East and Africa.